galactic ship. The color looked light brown. I did not pursue their path as they were cruising slowly away from me. I returned to my body, and I woke up and shared what I witnessed with Joseph, my boyfriend at the time. I have read the prophecy of George Washington and his experience of the higher realm and the beautiful angel that gave him the picture of the future of the United States with regard to our past history of the Revolutionary War against the British, along with the realization of the third peril. I also know that the explorer Christopher Columbus, while sailing around the area that is now Florida, spotted and recorded objects entering the water and exiting the water. These objects were unknown at the time but are known today to be flying spacecraft from another realm of reality other than ours. Some of us may have seen a painting of Mother Madonna holding two infants, and in the far background, a flying disc was painted. Then I had a dream that pulled all of the clues together about why it is so important that every soul learn the knowledge that is required to not be lost energy in a vast universe. The vision of everything shifted off its location. I was with my daughter when this vision was shown to me. I was in the master bedroom of her home. The boys were in the other side of the home. There was a newborn baby on the bed. Within moments everything shifted in one direction as I yelled to Tiffany, "Get the baby." I forced myself to awaken and later learned what I witnessed was called inertia. What this term means is a pace of motion that experiences the slightest change in its speed can cause all things to shift. Our planet spins about 1200 miles per hour. This is another source of our energy too. One must realize that not learning what is needed is no different than committing suicide. The truth is, learning what is needed is not going to hurt anyone but those who are determined to make sure the soul stays asleep. Why is it so important to seek the truth? It depends on your soul being truly saved and enlightened. Several years ago I was writing one morning and had been since 6 o'clock. It was 10:30, and suddenly I needed to go rest my eyes. I went to bed and fell asleep. I suddenly was shown what seemed to be so real at the time. Suited men were busting down doors and invading. I could not see who was behind the suits or helmets. I remember that in the vision, reacting to the invasion I saw, I said, as soon as I wake up, I am going to buy 2 guns. What happened next told me it was not just a dream or my imagination. After I spoke of purchasing 2 guns, I heard the voice of Christ say, "Child, have you not learned anything? The only thing that is needed is our minds must be strengthened." Then finally, in my dream, I saw HARP, the Denver murals, and George Washington's prophecy. I heard what that beautiful angel conveyed to our commander-in-chief, that there will be 3 perils. She spoke the words that the third one cannot be stopped. There is nothing any human can do to stop the third peril. Wars have been practiced to prepare for the third peril, and the motivation for the highest capabilities in technology has been in overdrive for some time now. It is a race against time itself. I have thought of this before and tried to convince myself an invasion of another species from another planet source could not be possible. I am not certain that is the reason. If we were to be attacked, why not just do it? Why wait? I don't believe our biggest concern should be being attacked by aliens and maybe rescued by aliens of another planet that look just like you and me in human form. Sadly, I was wrong, and now I understand the reason I gave my word to return with a purpose is because the pictures painted on the walls of the Denver airport give us a hint to pay attention to what we are seeing. I mentioned earlier that if this planet was to be compromised and damage to the environment caused it to no longer have the probability to sustain life, where would the energy of every man, woman, and child go? Please don't kid yourself by believing that going to church is all that is needed. One must see the church as a creation of the reality of man and never has disclosed that the holy truth of the purpose of the soul is to evolve with God's knowledge. By not learning what is required in this powerful reality of consciousness, many will ascend to the buffer that serves the purpose to separate this reality to the higher realm. The buffer has been also referred to as the Valley of Darkness. The reality of this buffer is created and sustained by our weak actions due to a misinformed mind that exists in this current powerful reality of consciousness. Failing to become enlightened in this power reality of consciousness has resulted in many ascending to this dreadful buffer that is filled with darkness of a dead mass of cold dampness. I can stress enough that all must master this knowledge in this current reality. Again, if our planet has lost its ability to provide a necessary atmosphere to experience life, many souls could be held for eternity in that buffer. The purpose to live in a consciousness reality is to expand the mind and to free the soul for it to ascend to higher dimensions of reality. The Trinity of God who incarnated himself into Christ to govern the mind of the souls of humans was created in his likeness as our saving grace. If one fails to understand why Christ was against the type of practices of commerce and how it deters us from our true purpose to exist, the concept of wealth that was being practiced will decrease the scientific ability of the mind to create in the capacity in which it was intended and will be void from experiencing all the capabilities of the natural laws. This knowledge was required to seek a higher understanding to be rewarded for our efforts to expand the mind with the wisdom of God to ascend to higher dimensions. Instead, the past and current practices of commerce have derailed us from the purpose to exist in this powerful consciousness where all the knowledge has been the whole time. Instead, we are treated like nuisances, begging for the simplest necessities Earth produces naturally, which are food and energy to sustain life necessary for survival in the flesh. This is made possible by acts of nature and should not be included in the reality of commerce and should be given, not purchased, to sustain life. We were meant to be in the highest superior knowledge and to not become enslaved to a concept of man's version of a design that places wealth in place of what is real, which is our soul. That is the purest energy and will exist for eternity and is what Christ came to teach us, which is the truth of our ability to use the mind as it had been created, which is to co-create and exist in a reality of the virtue of light. Christ was taught the truth and was doing his best to make sure everyone knew what he did when he walked among men. To be closed-minded and think all has been learned and you will ascend into a higher dimension of reality with the skills and experience of this reality and be granted to exist in the highest realm, which is heaven, the kingdom of God, is a trick. All this dimension of reality harbors is fear, lack, ignorance, and hatred. This designed reality exists for so long for us because Christ would not forsake us just to prove to man he could come and save his soul. The truth is, if Christ was to be before men, there would be shock over two factors. One would be humans saying "excuse me, sir" while they ran to repent, and the other would be humans dropping dead in their tracks of their guilt, knowing they have been existing in reality and participating in dirty deeds to get ahead of the rat race. Without knowing, we have prevented Christ from returning due to our weakness and lack of strength and knowledge to rise above the illusion of this designed dimension of reality of man. However, if the soul has not gathered all the facts of its purpose while in the current consciousness and ascends without the required laws of God's intelligence, then that soul returns back to the buffer and to Christ, not for judgment of our ignorance but for holding until that soul cycle is up and can return once again to learn what was failed to be achieved in the previous round. While back in this reality, one must strive to not only learn but love all things but also to nourish the vessel with proper food and plenty of water. The amount of love we are able to experience and give to all around us, both family and friends, determines what dimension of reality we ascend to in the afterlife. Give prayers to the entire world. Remember, we have no enemies in this consciousness. Situations have been created to create hard feelings for others, but it is all staged and is a two-faced game. To give love to a favorite chicken and dumpling dish and not give love to another human is ignorance, and if this is the outcome, and this planet has been destroyed or affected by an object that collides with our solar system from a faraway galaxy and another solar system, where will your energy go? How will you have life again? Life on this planet is to be the staircase to the higher dimension of all realities of knowledge that must be comprehended in this current life of consciousness. And the reason we are so overpopulated is because of souls returning to serve their next life to learn what was failed in the last one. Our life's purpose is to create, love, and evolve to higher dimensions of realities. Instead, the souls become trapped in this imitation of man's version of knowledge. War happens, and the beast of burden becomes our purpose to worship commerce as the truth. There is no more time to spare. The population had better heed the warning and wake up, or many will miss the opportunity to rise above and make critical decisions that depend on their ascension to a higher dimension of reality. I feel strongly that HARP is not solely intended to control the weather, rather, it is to prevent an object that is in the path of our solar system that destroys all matter in its path, as it is a burning star twice the size of our sun. Could this be karma for humans for all holocausts, for taking from others and killing them for their possessions? It very well could be, however, it really makes no difference if it is or isn't. The truth is, the network of organizations has been caught in all its deceit, including presidents lying, making false claims to gain approval to engage in war, and hatching a plan to control all resources required to sustain life, just so they can attempt to control the world. This all has been publicly disclosed, and it is time to turn your back on the system that has been designed to keep you down. Your life has meaning and purpose, and no organization of religion, banking, or government has any God-given right over your soul or your choice to use your free will. I have shared all I have discovered like so many others, and my effort has always been my life's purpose. I know I have made more progress this time than I ever have in any of my past lives. This is not my first time to attempt to accomplish this mission of God. Remember, I have memories that date back to the time of the Egyptians. To realize that I have failed so many times before is very upsetting to me. I can say enough to convey to society to please close your eyes and open the mind and see with the third eye. Please, when you wake in the morning, when your soul is fresh with knowledge before this dense reality sets in, meditate your senses, and think of all the knowledge you have read in this book. Really consider how the system of God's laws works, and realize your energy is connected to everything in our universe. Please strengthen your mind, and look at your reality and the reality of the environment in your mind, not nature's environment. You are love and power, and your soul is energy and will exist forever. I am telling all of what I have been through and learned from my experiences not to place fear in anyone but to help everyone to see the reason to save themselves. Not one person will have anything to lose but rather, all to gain. I wish only love to all humans. I don't judge anyone because only ignorance allows darkness. If the truth has not been known, how can any of us judge another, no matter what he or she has done? I realize that some will not be saved and will lose their souls to be free in the process. That saddens me to no end, as their minds have been programmed and imprinted on to not accept the facts of our origins. We, too, are extraterrestrial beings. Everything has been before. It is a cat and mouse game, and the clock is ticking. I cannot say how long we have left. Some scientists report less than 73 years. I am not certain, and I really can say for sure. We will know when the planet begins to show drastic changes. That neutron star will absorb the outer layers of our solar system, which to me will create the drastic slowing of Earth's spin, causing all things to shift. The effects from HARP will be damning to us also. The reason we have the technologies we do is because of the ones who have the ability to astral project in their sleep, while these humans, their vessels, egos, and personalities that only function in the dense man-created reality in the waking hours, are at rest. The energy of the soul exits, leaving an invisible gray, string-like antenna connected, which acts as a literal lifeline. As the soul visits other dimensions and realities, we gather the knowledge that is then brought back to this reality from the higher dimensions. Many technologies are created because of this phenomenal ability we possess if we will just learn to tune ourselves in and allow the message to be heard. A close friend conveyed to me that the one thing our government could not find a way to control was the humans who had this gift. I am not at liberty to disclose my source. I would rather be eliminated than ever forsake anyone. I just know this to be true because I personally astral project all the time. I also realize now that I have received all my knowledge from the higher realm. As many times as I retired to bed at a decent hour and woke in the morning feeling completely exhausted, I now understand why I was so exhausted. I was astral projecting and in class learning all I could, knowing time is running short. I have come to believe that all people are capable of doing astral travel. If one has not been experiencing it, then it is due to the constraints of burden of what the man-created reality delivers in the area of debt. Debt is enslavement and has been created to prevent all from seeking superior knowledge. When one retires to bed, the last thoughts